friends, this is Dr. Heather Cardin here from Ask Dr. Heather, take 2 if you just popped on with me. I hope you guys are all having an amazing week and you're staying warm wherever you are. Here in the Midwest, we are about to get another storm this week, so it's been a little bit chilly, but I appreciate you all staying in tune with your health, in tune with your New Year's resolutions and health goals for 2019. So, been getting a ton of questions in my inbox, which I absolutely love, because if you're brand new to Ask Dr. Heather, I want to welcome you here. Know this is meant to be shared, it's meant to be educational. Sometimes it's made to think you go, what's happening? Could that really be true? And so today's questions, just answering some of those questions I've gotten through Messenger here. And always know that you can post your questions right down below here. Any other lives, my motto is ask, act, achieve. So you don't know what the answer is until you ask, and there's no silly question. So ask, act. I want to give you some action steps. I'll go in. If I don't know the answer, I will connect with a leading researcher. I'll dig in deep and find the information that you want to give you some action steps so you can achieve those health goals that you want. So again, this is meant to be shared. I am not a public speaker. I am a wellness practitioner here in Overland Park, Kansas, and I have been in the trenches for more than 20 some years helping patients on a day-to-day basis. And some of the questions I get are either questions that I get asked through the office, or I get asked through emails, or asked through Messenger here, or things that you know, always things come in like in bundles. These are like common questions that I had a ton of patients ask me about this week. But this question comes from a video I made before about food allergies, gut health, and things that could be stopping you from getting in ketosis. So we're going to get right down to it. So if you're on a ketogenic diet, drop me a number 1 down below so I know who I'm talking to. If you're on a low carb diet, put down number 2, and put down number 3 if you're just trying to figure out just to be a little healthier, just to help cut out the sugar. Any progress that you made is amazing. Again, this is not about being perfect. It's just about being better than you were yesterday. So number 1, if you're trying to do keto. Number 2, if you're low carb, high fat. Number 3, if you're just trying to eat a cleaner paleo diet and just trying to clean it up a little bit, because we want to help you where you are, or meet you where you are and take you where you want to go. So again, based on one of the videos I had a whole bunch of comments on, and usually what I do is I take my videos and I actually post them over on my YouTube channel. So YouTube channels, Ask Dr. Heather, they're in categories, but this has to do with gut health. So could some of the foods I be eating keeping me out of ketosis? So I had did this Facebook Live about 5 or 6 reasons that you might not be getting in the state of ketosis that you want, and it had to do with food allergies. People were really pondered why that would be, because maybe they're eating the standard American diet, whatever they've been taught, and then they get the ketogenic or low carb, high fat food list, and they see all this dairy, and they go dairy crazy, they go peanut crazy, they go pork crazy or seafood crazy, you know, things that they really hadn't thought about. And just think about this for a second. We have 5 different antibodies. We have IgE, IgG, IgA, IgM, and I'm not going to give you an antibody lesson or a chemistry lesson, but we do have different type of antibodies. But if you're having an allergic reaction in the springtime, and say that your nose or your eyes turns red, maybe it starts to drip, maybe it gets stuffy and you can't breathe through it, or maybe your eyes get kind of gooby and you can't see really well, that's the same thing that's happening on the inside of your gut. So when we talk about leaky gut, and I'm talking to everybody out there, because we've all been consuming foods over the past several decades with artificial food colorings, artificial fillers, we're breathing in toxins. So this really is for everybody. We have accepted the whole gut thing as normal. Like, yes, you're supposed to eat food. Yes, you're supposed to have gas. No, it is not supposed to smell. If it smells, it means it's not burning very clean and something's wrong in between the mouth and the toilet. Or maybe you're a person who suffers from irritable bowel or suffers from constipation. So let's think about that a minute as we talk about ketosis. So if you're brand new to ketosis, it seems like everybody kind of knows what I'm talking about, and you can go ahead and tag a friend here, share this with them. So ketosis simply means your body's in a metabolic state burning fat for fuel instead of burning carbohydrates or glucose, and your liver does most of the work. So when your glucose or glycogen go down, because you're not refeeding it back in there, then your liver goes out and grabs some fat, breaks it down, and makes what's called ketones. So if you've gone on a ketogenic diet and you've done some switching of your diet, but now you're noticing some gas, some bloating, maybe even a rash. Like a rash can be allergy, right? Whether it's a ragweed allergy or poison ivy can also make a skin allergy. Maybe you have a peanut allergy, it can make blots on your chest and get hives. And think about this, if you're putting food in your mouth and your body doesn't recognize it and can't break it down, it could come up again. The Bible says repeat, because as we digest food, the first place is our mouth chews it 50 times. I know nobody chews it 50 times. Then it goes down our esophagus, which is our food tube. Then our stomach dumps in hydrochloric acid, some B12, and it also actually just makes it like baby food. It's called chyme. So all it's supposed to do in the stomach is just break it down. But if you're on a protein pump inhibitor or you're having a food allergy, then it might not get broken down like it wants. So the stomach says, hey, let's try it again. So the food comes up, kind of regurgitation, silent reflux, and it goes back down. Let's try that again. Again, if it's a food allergy, it comes back up, comes back down. Or conversely, your body thinks of a food allergy kind of like a foreign body, like traveler's diarrhea. Oh my gosh, I don't like dairy and eggs. So the minute it comes in, your body's going to rush it out and get it right out. That's where that diarrhea component comes into irritable bowel. So think about that as you're eating foods, whether you're on a low carb diet, a ketogenic diet, a regular diet, just trying to figure out what the heck is going on with your gut, especially for ketones, knowing that your liver's got to go uncouple and make that fat. Well, if your body's super concerned with trying to figure out what a food allergy is, it's either coming up, it's coming down, it's getting stuck in the middle. Large intestine's job is to reabsorb nutrients. So if you're putting food in there that it doesn't recognize, or maybe it sees as a cross reaction food allergy, then it maybe sit in the gut for a little bit because it's trying to figure out how to break it down, and then maybe it'll pass. And that's where constipation can come in, or you don't feel like you're fully evacuated. And I see this all the time. People are like, I went on the ketogenic diet or low carb diet, cut the sugar out, and now I feel terrible. I'm tired. Well, that's because histamine's being released. Think about Benadryl and antihistamine. A histamine is going to make your body tired. So if you're eating a food and you're saying, I thought this ketogenic diet and no sugar is going to give me this whole amazing amount of energy, but you're eating foods that cause a histamine reaction, you're going to get tired. We also know it's going to affect your insulin and your cortisol level, because now the adrenal glands, which are the engine for your body that release corticotropin hormones, your body's natural anti-inflammatory, antihistamine hormones. Now your adrenal glands get into play, trying to figure out what the food allergy is. It can make you tired. It can slow down the gut. It can cause hot flashes in the middle of the night. Think what happens with a true allergy. If you're having runny nose, runny eyes, maybe feel hot, feel clammy, same thing can be happening inside your gut, and then it comes out into the skin. So those are just some of the things. And we also see blood sugar dysregulation. People are like, I'm doing the diet, I'm doing the macros, I feel tired, I'm having these hot flashes, I'm not sleeping super great, now I've got this rash, now I've got this gut, this bloating, things don't smell right, I don't smell right. That can be just because there's food allergies. And what do? We start becoming our own detective. First thing, write down a food journal. Write down a food journal, and then take out the top 5 food allergens. Those are easy to find as you Google. It is things like eggs, #1 food allergy. What's the thing we hear all the time? People are eating on the ketogenic diet. Eggs every single day. Eggs for lunch, eggs for dinner, eggs. It is the #1 food allergy. I'm not picking on eggs because they are the perfect protein, but know that it could be an allergy or sensitivity for you. Dairy, we see people just piling on the cheese, snacking with cheese crisp, cheese parms, cheese this, cheese that. Know that that's a high allergen for a lot of people. Also peanuts. So pick pumpkin seeds or macadamia nuts or a low allergen nut and see if maybe it's peanuts that are doing that, or walnuts or cashews, some of those other higher allergen nuts. And then we also look at shellfish as being an allergen. People like to eat tons of crab and mussels and other things like that on a ketogenic diet. So take out the top 10 allergens and then again start writing down your foods. We also know the most important thing if you're suspecting a food allergy. So #1, cut out the top 10 foods if you have any of those symptoms we're talking about since you have switched to a diet. And also just remember that if you came from a really high carbohydrate diet, and as your body is switching sources, and it can take a few months to really get in the groove of being in ketosis, your body understands what's happening. Carbohydrates are stimulants. They only give us energy for 30 minutes. That's why we go back every 30 or 40 minutes to actually, I'm reading a great comment there by Sean, so I'll shout that out in just a minute. That we know that your sugar's spiking, so it's causing a lot of blood sugar dysregulation. Well, you drop your carbs down to 25 or 30, the body hasn't really caught up with what's happening yet, so that trend keeps coming in, and then we start to see other things start to happen where you say, well gosh, I've been doing this for 2 weeks, my blood sugar should trend down, but it's trending up. That can be because of a silent food allergy, a hidden food allergy. So signs of that, again, a food allergy can be bowels not being right. Again, not moving like they should, which is eliminating twice a day. You should not have to go to the bathroom 5 minutes after you eat. That's not normal digestion. Or if you know that you've had a big history of being antibiotics, that can actually cause a dysregulation or dysbiosis of the gut. But as you're transitioning onto a low carb, high fat, cleaner green diet, know that what you need to do is just start writing stuff down and then rotate it. Pick the foods that are safe in allergens, that are very, very low in allergen. And Sean is right. When you buy cheaper products, like he's saying, I'm allergic to the cheap white eggs, but do great with local farm fresh eggs. That perfectly makes sense because eggs are the perfect protein, and there's a high amount of sulfur inside the yolk of an egg. However, when it's commercially farmed out, sometimes the feed that they're giving the chicken, I am a farm girl from Kansas, I understand how that world works, that you're right, that can absolutely be normal. I have patients who have allergies to wheat here, but then they go to Belgium and they can drink a dark beer and they have no reaction, but a croissant here, they're horribly sick, bloody diarrhea, ulcerative colitis. Go to Belgium and have a dark beer that is a non-GMO and they do perfectly fine. Or people with a dairy allergy, dairy sensitivity, whether it's gas, bloating, candida, any of those things happening, but they eat raw goat's milk or raw sheep's milk and they do fine because all the natural antibodies are in there, the natural colostrum's in there, the natural things for their body to digest. So we're going to keep to people who are eating just real keto food, real here in the US, maybe occasionally having to drive through, occasionally having to buy stuff that is not locally grown, or maybe not everything is organic, but those are the symptoms. And what happens is when those enzymes are reacting to the histamines, slow down here, as the reaction is happening inside the body, the histamine reaction, the adrenals being affected due to the food allergies and the histamine also affects our brain. That's why things like Dramamine and Benadryl actually make you tired. The same thing, you're eating these foods, they're getting stuck in your gut, or they're running through your gut really quickly and also taking essential nutrients with you and depleting your electrolytes, going to give you a lot more brain fog. So I've had so many people say, I started the ketogenic diet, the low carb diet, I cut out the sugar, I felt terrible. This is the worst I've ever felt. So what I want to say is that can be expected. So where we start doing it is actually start being our own detective and start seeing what we need to do to eat our food the right way. And we also know that we must rotate foods. People get stuck in this. And I did a little video about dirty keto, clean keto, and perfect keto or strict keto. But we also know that due to Dr. Simeon's work, a lot of other doctors' work, that we have to rotate through our macronutrients. We know that there's 21 essential amino acids that come from proteins. That means we need to eat a variety of protein, not just the same protein all the time. And yes, bacon is a condiment, not a food group. I'm going to say that as well. But no, we do need to rotate through our food. We need to have red fish one day, white fish one day, poultry one day, then maybe have a day of fasting and maybe have a day of feasting filled with a bunch of different Mediterranean greens, different types of greens. So I just wanted to break it down. I did do, like I say, a video, the top 5 reasons you might not be getting in ketosis or feeling good while you're in ketosis. Then everybody's like, break them down, do one at a time and keep it short. So today was specifically about food allergies. And again, people print that list off. Well, the ketogenic diet says I can have all the dairy in the world, or the ketogenic diet says I can have 15 cups of peanuts. I'm just being facetious. But it says I can eat peanuts. And what happens is, again, think what happens when you have an allergy to your nose. It swells up, it can get drippy, it can get stuffy, it can lead over into your mouth and your ears and your eyes. Same thing's happening in your gut. So if in doubt, keep it out. Stick to the very low allergen foods. You can find a different list. Again, the Dirty Dozen list, or the top 10 food sensitivities. And what happens is over time it weakens your immune system, it weakens your gut lining, which means your body's so enhanced in saying, I've got to fix my immune system, I've got to try to regulate my blood sugar, I've got to keep my adrenal glands going, because they are so important. They help control my sex hormones, they help control my blood pressure, my mineral corticotropin hormones, they help control my anti-inflammatory or corticotropin hormones. I've got to get my adrenal glands fixed. But if I'm putting in food allergies, cortisol is all over the place, glucose is all over the place, insulin's rising and dropping. This is again where you get the hot flashes, and then the thyroid starts trying to figure out what's happening, because the thyroid is the ignition that starts our body. We're putting in food our body doesn't like, it kind of freaks out, and then the liver's like, what am I supposed to do? I'm supposed to go make ketones now for energy? And then it can do that, but it just gives it a lot more time and a lot harder. So as you start to transition out of the standard global diet, do it slow and steady, do a little bit of research, keep just one single list. And I would keep a food list, and you can go, I'll post one down below that is an allergy-friendly ketone, I say an allergy-friendly, low-carb, ketogenic food list. So even things like soy we want to keep out. Things like even canola oil. So when we start talking about dirty keto, people who can get away with eating more processed foods, more additives that actually could be affecting their state of ketosis and how healthy their body can be. So I hope, I'm going to look at my points here, I hope I got all those points that why or how could food allergies be inhibiting my body from making ketones, or my body from being the best version of itself, and hopefully that makes sense. And we talk about food allergies, it doesn't have to be the IgE ones, the one where you've got to have an EpiPen within 5 minutes. We know IgG makes up 80% of our blood volume, and they hang around. They're like the army. They just keep coming in and coming in. They'll hang around for 72 to 96 hours. Sometimes it's hard to figure out what your body needs. That's when I love fasting. Fasting, you're not putting any food in, the whole immune system, everything can calm down, your adrenals can calm down, your cortisol can reset, your insulin response can reset, your histamine response can reset, and then slowly reintroduce non-allergen foods, things like healthy greens and healthy fishes, and then you're going to find what your body reacts to. Reaction could be gas, bloating, it doesn't pass, it comes back up, it's making me itchy, I'm clearing my throat all the time, anything like that. And then we know that histamine plays a huge role in brain and cognition. So that brain fog that we get, that histamine reaction, again, think about what Benadryl does in your body. Our body makes its own natural antihistamines. When you're having foods that are high in histamine for our body, we're going to have that brain fog, we're going to have that lethargy, then we're not going to feel like we want to move around and get moving, and then our immune system starts to slow down, our lymphatic system starts to slow down, then we start losing nutrients. I know I'm making it seem like a big doomsday, but it's a pretty simple science. Eat real foods, keep it clean, keep it green, eat more plant fats, and just keep it super simple. Just, again, pick a chicken and a green vegetable, then pick a white fish and a couple green vegetables, then pick a pink fish on Wednesday and a couple vegetables. If you do some beef or buffalo or bison, and then do some more vegetables. And again, when we start talking about that, you're going to find things are getting much, much easier for your body. So that is my 101 for this Friday on all things keto. I do want to announce I do have a private Zoom tomorrow. So for people who are not new to keto, people who have a pretty high understanding, we are doing a private Zoom specifically talking about epigenetics and ketones. What is epigenetics? Epigenetics is an amazing term that really talks about how our genes come into play and when they get fired in the perfect storm. I am going to focus on MTHFR and ketones, the BRCA gene, and ApoE. So ApoE4 is a big hot topic about cholesterol, saturated fats, Alzheimer's. How can I do a ketogenic diet if I'm positive for the ApoE4? What if I'm positive for the BRCA gene? If that's for breast cancer? What if I'm a methylator of a methylation issue in the whole MTHFR? That is a private Zoom tomorrow, 3 p.m. Central Standard Time. Shout an email to me and let me know. I am keeping it to the first 115 people that actually respond. That's the number of seats I have. And then Monday night, we are doing a Be Live video. It will be streamed live through Trilogy Fitness, and that is actually on hormone recovery for the overused, over-endurance elite athlete. So if you know that you've had hormone disruption because maybe you're an endurance athlete in your earlier days, or you were a bodybuilder and you know now you're having problems with premenopause, perimenopause, infertility issue, you're balding way too early. And there's no family genetics of it. We're going to talk about that. Tomorrow's epigenetics and ketones, so kind of a higher level of learning, so to speak. And then Monday night at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time through Trilogy Sports, I'm going to be speaking about really how about hormone disruption and when we should really feed and refeed and that rest and recycle. So hopefully I brought you some value today. Know this again, this is meant to be shared. My name is Dr. Heather Carden. I'm the co-owner of Carden Center for Wellness. I also have a blog up above. So the arrow pointing this way is my blog, AskDrHeather.net. You can sign up, subscribe for free, and you can download your guide, the food list I just talked about. So your guide to start your day in the right way. There's 3 of my favorite breakfast recipes. So there's your food list right there. I forgot to put it up above. And then the other Google Docs is if you want to have information when I'm hosting different Zooms on different information. I'm going to tell you, I've had a little bit of a hard week. I'm going to be super honest with you guys. And that's probably going to be my next live that I do it about. It's okay if I'm not perfect every time. It's about showing up the best person I can be for you today and giving you the best content that I can give you based on the hundreds of questions that I get, because I really want to lead with education, and I want to lead from the front. I want to live the lifestyle that I say I'm leading. I want to do what I'm saying doing, and I want to share my results with you all, because that's really what it's about. So education, inform yourself. Maybe you say, she is hogwash, I can have bacon every day, I'm at my optimal weight, my lab work is perfect, I can eat processed this and that. That's great. Some of that's your genetic component. Not everyone is as lucky as that. So I compare it to, I've had to wear glasses since 2nd grade. It's not an option. Can't drive, can't see, can't read. If I don't have my contacts or glasses in, it's not an option. That's the same thing if your genetic pool happens to be you're more insulin resistant, more insulin sensitivity. We know food allergies are actually genetically related. Dr. Dominic D'Agostino, that's not right. Dr. Diamano wrote a book on Eat Right for Your Blood Type. If you've read that, give me like a book sign or something, or a thumbs up. So Eat Right for Your Diet Type. You know that there's different populations of people who don't digest different foods. Like Asians don't digest dairy. It's just not in their chromosomal makeup. The great thing is now I've been talking about this for 20 some years. Now you've got 23andMe, some of these really easy genetic tests that you can do to help you figure that out, or get a really good blood test that tests IgG, IgA, and IgM to see which of those antibodies are being affected. If it's IgE, you probably know it because your lips are their nose are swelling up. So again, thank you guys for joining me. If you're watching this on a replay, put a snowflake down. It is supposed to get really, really cold here in Kansas. We had 11 inches last week, still snow on the ground, some more snow to come. So just wanted to shout out there again, epigenetics and keto tomorrow, 3 p.m. on a private Zoom. Monday night is hormone recovery and repair, and that's going to be just simply with food, not all keto, but just simply how do we do that? And that's going to include some good sleep habit or some good sleep hygiene. So you guys have a blessed day. Thank you again for joining me. Let me know if you have questions. I am here to help. So ask, act, achieve. You guys have an amazing day.